Why is the birth rate falling in every country? Lots of social reasons. But one of the economic reasons is a difference in the relative cost. In underdeveloped countries, kids are an asset which gives a family unit more manpower, security, and a way to care for the elders. In developed countries, kids are a liability that make it difficult to work a full-time job, and they incur costs for their entire life. 90% of the population used to be farmers. Children worked on the farm, and the children took care of their parents when their parents got old. So children were both a source of labor and a retirement plan. So having a lot of children was beneficial. Now most people work in regular jobs. Children do not work. So children are an expense, not a source of labor. And children do not take care of their elderly parents. Parents save for retirement, which is easier if you don't have children. So children went from being a source of wealth to being an expense. A couple of main reasons, I think. Vastly reduced child mortality means that you no longer need 7 or 8 births per woman to maintain the population. Easy access to birth control has made it possible, for the first time in history, for women to control their reproductive cycle. Women can be sexually active but choose not to get pregnant. I think we have yet to fully comprehend how absolutely revolutionary that is. Take these two together and you have a situation where there is no real need for women to have lots of babies. And they have the ability to choose not to, which frees them up to focus their time on other pursuits. It used to be that making babies was in fact literally the most important job a woman could do. This is no longer the case. Hence the declining birth rate. Another factor that I think will become increasingly relevant is that the rise of automation will mean that we simply need fewer people around, because more and more jobs will be done by machines. Like with horses in the UK when motorization happened, the population will drop, but the overall standard of living will increase. Costs associated with parenthood skyrocketing. Costs of home ownership skyrocketing. Expectations of parenthood skyrocketing. Wages stagnating. Time commitment of jobs skyrocketing. Not a mystery. Gestures broadly at everything. People aren't financially secure enough to want to commit the responsibility of children. According to World Bank data, 3 main factors have been credited for a decrease in the global fertility rate. Fewer deaths in childhood, greater access to contraception, and more women are getting an education and seeking to establish their careers before, and sometimes instead of, having a family. People cannot afford to live. We broke. This is false. Birth rate is falling in some countries, not all. Edit. After seeing some sources provided by other Redditors, I have to say I was wrong. While birth rate is positive in a lot of countries, mostly African ones, birth rate in general is going down, and it's a trend since decades ago even in those African countries. Thank you all for being civilized. The difficulty of just existing. Debt and debt. Can't afford myself, let alone a kid. Because kids aren't dying as often. People used to have lots of kids because they assumed they'd lose a few to polio and scarlet fever. But now they can trust that if they have 3 kids they'll all survive to adulthood. People are getting smarter. Out of the many other mammals, human women have the hardest time in labor, and our babies require the most energy and resources due to their undeveloped state. Now that women can choose whether to go through this arduous, dangerous process or not, I do think this plays a role in declining birth rates. Also, our medical system does not treat women well in general. High maternal mortality in the US, and I've heard many accounts of women's needs and wishes not being heard or taken seriously in labor and delivery. In 1950, hormonal birth control was introduced. It allowed women with access to choose to have children, rather to have children thrust upon them. Previously, even with proven methods, birth control was only somewhat effective. It turns out that having 8 kids then dying from the stress of multiple pregnancies is not what most women want from their life. The Earth has had enough of our expansion. A few different reasons. 1. The state of the economy. Many people are living paycheck to paycheck, barely managing to pay their bills while paying for food, gas, and other expenses. Children are expensive. 2. Climate change. Believe it or not, this one is a little complicated for one comment, but the basis is that childcare has a heavy environmental impact. I recommend researching this if you're interested in learning more. 3. They just don't want to. For years, getting married and having kids has been considered the ultimate goal, and it was common to start families without the desire to, just for the sake of tradition. Newer generations are realizing that there is no right way to do life and taking the initiative to do what they actually want. 4. Easier, more available access to contraceptives. This one is self-explanatory. A lot of reasons, but honestly, the biggest reason is that less and less people want to have them. I don't want kids. You could not pay me to do it. No amount of government benefits, money and support can change my mind. Development is the best contraceptive. Karan Singh, India Minister of Population, 1974. Basically, as average household income increases, birth rate decreases. Wikipedia puts it like this. It is hypothesized that the observed trend in many countries of having fewer children has come about as a response to increased life expectancy, reduced child mortality, improved female literacy and independence, and urbanization, that all result from increased GDP per capita. 7. Consistent with the demographic transition model. The increase in GDP in Eastern Europe after 1990 has been correlated with childbearing postponement and a sharp decline in fertility. https:/en.wikipedia.org/wiki/income and fertility.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.